strange prison consisting of several floors. Eating in it takes only 2 minutes, and the rest goes down to the floors below. In a strange prison, Goreng wakes up from sleep and finds himself in a cell numbered 48. The cell had nothing in it except a bed and a bathroom. In the middle of it, there was a very deep hole. He was with a man named Terry Magassi, and there were many cells like the ones in it, numbered according to the number of floors. Each of these cells had 2 prisoners. Every day there were tables that would go down with a very large amount of food on them. The whole cell had only 2 minutes before the food went down to the cell below it, so he had to eat quickly, the largest amount he could, of course. When you were on the floor below, every time you had a chance to eat less, and in order to make things even between the prisoners, they would rearrange them from the beginning. When Johnny saw the dining tables for the first time, he didn't eat anything because he wasn't hungry and kept leaving the food for the floors below. But his colleague Terry Magassi was eating very ravenously. After he finished eating, he spat on the food and told Goreng that he did it because the floors above them did the same. Goreng decided to take an apple from the table and keep it to eat later. But as soon as the tables were lowered from their floor, the cell started to get really hot, and we discovered that prisoners were forbidden from keeping food, so he was forced to come to throw the apple away, or he would die from the high temperature. He started to remember the interview he had done before he entered this prison, and he also remembered that he had signed a paper obligating him not to leave prison until after the period they had agreed upon. We know that Goreng agreed to enter this prison for 6 months, and in return, he would receive an accredited diploma. Each prisoner was allowed to take only one thing with him to prison, and George chose to take a novel. The next day, he did not eat anything from the tables. As for Jassy, he was a dog who was shocked like the last time. Goreng asked Magassi about his story and how he got in there. At that time, he told him that one day he was watching TV and saw an advertisement for a knife war. He liked it very much, so he bought it. The next day, the same advertisement showed a knife that was better than the one before it. Magassi got very angry and took the TV and threw it out the window. Unfortunately for him, the TV fell on the head of a person who came from under his house and killed him. After the incident, Magassi was arrested and given the choice between a mental hospital or the prison he was currently in. Of course, Magassi chose prison. Magassi said that the largest number he had been in was cell 132, and that there were many more cells than that number, because he saw the cells below him, and also told him that no food reaches the floors below, and this was the worst month he had ever gone through in the whole period. As soon as Goreng heard Trey's words, Magassi was terrified to go down to the floors below and started yelling at the prisoners below to take into account the food of the people below them, but no one responded to him. Trey Magassi stood at the edge of the hole and started taking a shower on the tables and told me that the thing he chose to bring with him was the knife he bought from the advertisement the next day at the food tables. And suddenly someone fell into the hole from the floors above him. Goreng was very surprised by the man's suicide, because he eats well since he is on a higher floor than them. But Trey Magassi told Gore that this matter is normal and happens a lot, but no one from the administration deals with this matter. Trey Magassi told about his story and all the earthquakes he was in and told him that they will change. The cell they were in at the end of the month, and they understood that cellmates always stay together and do not change, and at that time in the floors below. And that is what made them gather together in one cell when the food tables came again, and a woman named Mahar was sitting on it. George was worried about Mahar because she was injured, but Magassi told him to get rid of her and focus on eating. Magassi said that Anna Mahar was used to going down all the floors once a month to look for her son, and he also told him that she kills anyone who comes with her in the same cell, and the hope that her son comes with her. The next time the cell, he continues his words, and he told Goreng that the man who fell from the hole might be the one who threw him, and that they did not kill his previous colleague. Like she did his colleague who was already dead and hid his body. When they were jealous, the prisoners who were on the floor went down to the floor below the man, and they wanted to enjoy it. But Hajor Anj kept shouting at them at the top of his lungs to make them leave her. But the truth is that Mahara didn't need his help, because she killed the two prisoners and returned to the table again. When the month ended, the prisoners slept through gas from him and their cells were changed. When he woke up, he found himself tied to his bed and discovered that he was now on the 171st floor. Tarmajisi approached Juri. He told him that he was the one who tied him to the bed, because he was younger and stronger than him. Yaman himself had to hear the screams of the people from the floors above him. This was evidence that the prisoners were not satisfied with their new roles. And his role would definitely be worse when the tables went down to the point where there was nothing left in them. After 8 days, he thought that the time had come for him to eat, and he actually approached Juri with the knife in his hand and began to cut off a piece of Juri's leg. He didn't care about Goreng's screams or pleas, but before Jasi could eat Goreng's leg, the table went down to their floor, and on it was Mahara's hard knife. She remembered how worried Goreng was about her. She attacked Karima Kasi and stabbed him with the knife. She then went to Goreng and saved him, and also gave him his knife. The knife is from here. He attacked Trima Jasim brutally and killed him. He then fainted from his sleep and found himself on his bed. Mahara was the one who put him on the bed, and she also tied his legs with a piece of sheet. She is currently standing eating a corpse. Mahara approached Juri and gave him a piece of her flesh so he could eat from a corpse because he had no choice. Then, Mahara brought him some water and went down to the table without saying a word. Days pass by Juri and the corpse begins to rot, and at that time she passes by hallucinatory attacks in which he sees Trimagasa blaming him for eating his corpse. The month tends and the sleeping gas spreads again, and Goreng dreams that he's with a girl in the dream. When he wakes up from sleep, he finds that there is a dog licking him. He's shocked when he discovers that his new colleague in the cell is Imogiri, and this is the woman he met when he wanted to obey him and got to prison. Imogiri chose to take her dog with him, and the new cell they are in is number 33. Goreng remembered the interview he did with Imogiri and how she was surprised by his answers to her questions because he was very naive and did not know what he was getting into. Imogiri told Goreng that she volunteered just like he did and that she did not know that people die in prison. She also told him that the prison consists of about 200 floors. Goreng started talking to Imogiri and told her that the food is not enough for all the people in the prison. At that moment, Imogiri told him that the food would be enough if everyone took what was enough for them and took into account their colleague. He told her about a skilled child, but Imogiri did not believe him and told him that the company's policy does not accept children under the age of 16. When the food tables came to me, Mujiri, she ate what was enough for her, and that's it, and she took some food for her dog and made 2 plates of food suitable for the floor below her. When the tables went down, the floor below, Imogiri spoke to the prisoners there and told them to eat what was on the plates, and that's it, and make 2 other plates for the people below them like she did. But the truth is that the prisoners didn't care about her. At that moment, he told her that the administration doesn't want to cooperate with each other. Imogiri told him that she hates people who judge without seeing because she worked with this administration for a long time and their treatment was very good. At that moment, he told her that she says this because the administration gave her the privilege of being on the upper floors every day. Imogiri did the same thing she did. She ate what was enough for her and her dog and made 2 plates of food and kept begging the prisoners below to do the same. But no one listened to her, and he threatened the prisoners below that they grace. If they didn't do the same thing, my manager said he would take a bath on all the food. His threat actually worked, and the poor people ate what they needed and made 2 plates for the people below them. One day, the dining table fell, and Maru fell on top of it while she was unconscious. Imogiri and Juri quickly carried her off the table, but they ignored the dog who kept eating from the table. As soon as the table fell, the floor below the cell started to get colder. At that moment, he discovered that the dog had stolen food from the table. He had to run after him throughout the cell to bring back the food at night. Goreng left Maru's bed and slept on the floor, but the magic was in the middle of his sleep to the sound of strangulation. This was because Maru ate Imogiri's dog. The next day, Maru came down from Imogiri's cell, and Juri was on the dining table. Goreng told Imogiri the story of Maru and her son, but Imogiri surprised him and told him alone 10 months ago, and told him that Mayara was an actress cut off from a tree and she came here as a volunteer like him and Majiri. She told him that she regretted sending people to prison because she did not know the truth about the place here. She continued and told Juri had been fighting cancer for 3 years, but unfortunately, the cancer got the better of her. So she volunteered to come here and see what was happening. She spent the entire time she was there trying to advise people to take care of each other in eating, but unfortunately she did not succeed in this mission. On the last day of the month, he told me, "Majiri, come and eat from the tables because they might not find food from the day after tomorrow because the roles will be changed." But Imogiri was very depressed to the point that she did not want to get out of her bed. The next day he woke up and found himself in cell number 2002, which means that there were more roles than Imogiri had, but unfortunately he discovered that Imogiri had hanged herself with the bedsheet. At that moment, he began hallucinating again and saw Magasi in front of him. Magasi was asking Juri if he would eat Imogiri's body like all his corpses. After a while, Jason was thrown away. He was no longer alone. She and her dog joined him. The three of them kept nagging him to eat Imogiri's body. Goreng tried his best to make him think about these hallucinations and was distracting himself with anything else. When he was hungry, he would stop reading the novel and eat its pages to trick his stomach. He also took a piece of a glass plate and started counting the days on the wall. Unfortunately, with time, Juri's hunger increased, and at that moment he was forced to eat Imogiri's body. Magasi started to appear to him again and was telling him about the best part. To eat from the human body. The roles changed again, and George was happy when he first woke up because he found himself on floor number 6. Also, he discovered that his new colleague was Meiharu, but the surprise was that Meiharu attacked him with a knife. We later discovered that all of this was a dream and that Goreng's new colleague was actually named Bharat. Bharat chose to take the prison rope and was very happy. He is on the 6th floor because he wanted to get out of prison by climbing to the floors above and asked the people on the 5th floor to help him at first. The prisoners above refused to help him, but in the end he agreed. When one of them grabbed the rope, Bharat started climbing on it, but unfortunately the other prisoner took a bath on Bharat. Bharat was shocked by the reaction and quickly let go of the rope and was about to fall into the hole. But luckily for Gauri, they caught him at the last moment. Unfortunately, his rope fell and the dining tables came after it, and the two of them ate from it while they heard the prisoners above mocking them. As time passed, Imogiri saw Magasi praising Gauri and told him that he was on the right path because he had only 1 month to get out of here. But Majiri told him that he had to work this month and try to fix the behavior of the people in prison. Goreng had an idea to force people to take care of each other and asked Bharat to help him. Goreng told Bharat that they would zerd. They will jump on the tables and take anything they can use as a weapon and force people to eat what they need. But when Goreng was on the 202nd floor, according to the time it takes for the tables to move, he said that the number of floors is 250. Bharat liked the idea, and they both broke the iron of the bed and made a weapon and went down to the tables on the 7th floor. German said that the people on the 7th floor were eating yesterday and will definitely eat tomorrow, so they will not eat today. They will also prevent anyone from approaching the food until the 50th floor. He said that they will distribute it from the beginning there, because these are the people who receive very little food. Bharat hesitated at first because people were happy that he went out with the rope weeks ago, but when one of the people store the ladder began to act violently, Bharat understood Goreng's point of view and did what he was told to do. The two of them began to go down to the floors below and were preventing anyone from approaching the food until they reached a floor where there was a man. An old man named Bharat. Bharat was a wise man who knew Bharat and was very agreeable to their idea. But he warned them and told them that the administration would not care about what they were doing and would not care if they succeeded in evaluating the prisoners' behavior. But maybe those working in the prison would care about this talk. Bharat said that they needed a symbol to let those working in the prison know that they succeeded in evaluating the prisoners' behavior. At that time, Bharat and Juran chose to carry a very expensive and luxurious plate, and this would be the symbol that would reach those working in the prison, because this plate is the first plate the prisoners eat. If it reaches them intact, they will understand that someone is trying to fix the prisoners' greed. Bharat and Juran completed their mission and continued to lower the tables and prevent anyone from approaching them. The most important thing for them was to protect the expensive floor. As soon as the two reached the 50th floor, they began distributing specific plates to the prisoners. The prisoners were mulling. They were very happy on the 97th floor. They found an old sick man and a disabled child. Jury attacked the old man and started eating him. But the disabled child told them not to tire themselves out because anyway, he will kill the old man after he leaves, and he will eat him on the next floor. Goreng, because there is a body of one person. I expect that at that time, Haru's anime will be healthy on this floor. When Bharat and Goreng reached the 250th floor, the tables did not stop, which means that there are more floors than this. On the 251st floor, they found two demons attacking Haru. One of the prisoners had a sword, and the other was huge and strong, so they did not attack. She did not have any chance in front of them. Bharat and Goreng attacked them quickly to save Mahara. The matter was difficult for them, but Bharat was able to kill the man with the sword and quickly went to help Jory. But unfortunately, Goreng was very upset with his friend and wanted to stay with him, but his friend Bharat quickly went to the table and they both went down. They continued to go down and helped all the prisoners they met. Unfortunately, there were many empty floors and there were nothing but corpses. Finally, the table stopped at floor 333, which means that the last floor was empty. At first, they thought that this floor was empty, but suddenly a child came out from under the bed. This child is Molly, the missing child. Bharat and Johnny got down from the table and went to the child. As soon as they got down from the table fell into a hole in the ground. Goreng asked Bharat to throw the expensive plate into the hole so that it could reach the prison workers, but Bharat refused. The strange thing is that the temperature of the cell did not change, even though they took food from the table. After that, Bharat gave the plate that man. With him, the three Mali remained in the last floor, and Goreng was having hallucinations again. But this time, he was not seeing Emoji and Trimagasi, but he was seeing Mahara and her as well. Suddenly, Bharat appeared to him in a hallucination and told him that the child Molly was the solution when he discovered that his friend Bharat died because of his wounds. When the tables came down again, George took Molly and they sat on the tables and went down into the hole. The place was very dark and suddenly he told him to get down from the tables because he passed the test. The tables came down again and Molly was on them to test people's mercy and see who would pass the test. Here we have reached the end of our movie. Thank you for watching. Bye, my friend.